Alright, I'm getting ready to cut my shelves, I guess. This is the bottom one. I want to do this one first. I made a couple of test cuts on this scrap piece, and I'm pretty happy with the results. It's not absolutely tight, but you know, there's enough gap there that it looks good and goes in. Hopefully it'll go in easy. Just doing it on one side, it works, but now I've got to make it work on both sides. So I've got it set up here, clamped in place so that it's perfectly safe. This is my stop for the, I guess I'll call it the vertical cuts. So I'll make those 4 cuts, flip it, or lay it down, I should say, and I've got a stop here set up for my horizontal cuts. The only thing I need to change then is the height of the blade. Now we're just hitting that. There's a little bit of a lip back there. I like my fit. And for this bottom one, this is how it'll go in. There'll be a cleat underneath here to hold this one. It's the middle one that I've got to figure out how to handle that. Alright, I'm going to pop this out. Yeah, you can see it. This is flush. I've got a little lip. I've got to just take care of that. There's a couple of spots. I'll do that. Same on the sides here. All in all, I like the fit, though. That's good so far. All right, middle shelf. That looks good. All right, I want to cut my saw kerf for these shelf pin clips, but I want to show you how those work. So you can see that. Hopefully you can see that there's just a little bit of daylight between the clip and the Baltic birch there. The Baltic birch representing the table top. And then if I pull that out, you can hear a little click. That's the tension you're going to create when you put the screw in, because this is at just a slight angle. So the distance between the curve and the top of that piece is 7/16 of an inch, and that gives you just the right amount of tension, I guess, to hold that top firmly to your base. Glued up. This the way I put it together was I put these two side panels together first. Then the back and these went on, the front and bottom rails went on while it was sitting on one side. This shelf and this shelf are just in there temporarily to help me kind of square things up. But it did square up pretty nicely. I'm very happy about that. I guess I got a little wiggle line right there. This one's got a little bit in it too, but this, I believe it's because of this clamp pressure. This one is bowed. So once it comes out of the clamps, we should be okay. So all in all, I'm happy with the way it went together. I'm going to have to come up with a different strategy, I think, for putting this shelf in. I think that it's going to have to be put in after I make the doors. Alright, I can start working on these door frames. The one thing I've noticed here is that these are just a bit thicker than what they need to be. But I'm not going to take the material off of the piece. I'm going to take it off the front of this shelf. I've got a good probably 3/16 of an inch to work with there. And if I take a 1/16 of an inch off, I'll be back to right where I need to be here. Yeah, that'll be good. I'm probably a 32nd of an inch strong here. So, okay, so I'm going to cut my stiles to length, and then I'll get all four the same length. I can figure then out what the width or the length of my rails are going to be, and we can go from there.